Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chat19, a podcasty-style thingamajig featuring the players you love from Nat19, and also the DM this time. Here we'll be delving into some of your most burning questions you've submitted using the questionnaire form in this video's description, as well as on our Twitch page. I am your host, Chase, also known as Coffin Jockey, and I am joined today by some lovely people. How about you introduce yourselves, as well as a little info about what you do in Nat19, starting with... let's go with someone who won't take that long. Logan, describe every character.
Okay, I'm going to describe every character. So if we go back to the minutes of the first session of Vestige, the first character I believe that showed up was the barkeeper who warned them about the tieflings not being taken very well. I have an elaborated history on him that I could go into, and by could, I would be very pleased to. So, his life began in a small log cabin 46 miles to the north of Summergrass in a previously established village called, I don't know, Winterwood. Fucking, because that's how I name things. Hello, I am the DM. You guys know me. You guys know us by this point, but this is what we do. I am the DM for Vestige, the creative director for the channel, the boy who makes things happen, a TTRPG content creator, voice of stuff, person who runs Project Mouthwash, and usual professional tired boy.
Delightful. Next up, we got Hayden.
Do we? Who's that? Who are they?
That's the you one.
What?
That's the one that's the you one.
Oh my god, that's the me one.
I know.
I'm no crazy.
I was shocked.
Guys. I know. I'm just gonna go back to my stink hovel and just hang out.
You're so mean to yourself.
No, it's a stupid throwback.
Talked about me creating a stink hovel moments before you joined the call.
Oh, I see.
Oh man. Hi guys, I'm Hayden Daviau. I am the player for Aviana Kolesh, the Hanya rogue, the angry bird herself, Bird Mom. Or
one of these days.
Mopiana Cry Less, as we've been calling her lately.
One of these days, we gotta get one of them high-strength boys to fastball special you so you can achieve your destiny of Angry Bird.
Exactly. See, this is why we need Vogan back, so he can just yeet me.
I don't know, those wings add a lot of weight.
I'll just tuck him in, man.
That doesn't make the weight go away.
No, I know, but it's just more, I don't know,
If you can't see them, they don't have mass.
That's how science works.
My wings make me fat.
Fucking Avi's sitting over here being like, oh, I'm 68 pounds over the average weight for a woman of my age and size. I don't understand why.
It's like, I don't get it. What happened?
How could this happen to me?
How much their wings would actually weigh?
A lot.
Probably a
is
lot,
my
yeah.
answer. I'm like,
At
I think
least
we like
2 pounds.
I think we weighed her at like 145 pounds when we were making her initially, but I'm like, she probably weighs way more than that with her fucking wingspan. But like,
yeah, but
let's be nice
you
to her.
gotta neutralize that weight because all of her bones are so famously hollow.
It's true.
Yeah, she's a hollow bones.
And at least 30 of those pounds are just in her boobs.
It's true.
Oh, the bone marrow is stored in the boobs.
The science of Hanya.
Well, we have a bunch of questions that have been submitted by all of our lovely viewers on Nat19, as well as a couple players of Nat19. I'm gonna start out with a question for Logan.
It's me.
Dear Logan.
Yes.
Out of all of the revealed table members, who did you expect the group to fight first?
Okay, so I've been pretty clear with people that, like, Honokuni is a big old sandbox, and I very much designed it to be tackled in whatever direction, and this is a tangential thought that's going to lead into my answer. It's very much... people have come up to me a lot, or have contacted me a lot, and been very like, oh, heck, are the players ruining your plans? And I've just been sitting here like, it's hard to ruin what doesn't exist. Like, it's a very reactive part of Vestige. So like them going to the Bastille and whatnot, I didn't expect it to happen so soon, but it didn't ruin anything because I'm reasonably prepared for them to go basically anywhere at any time. Given that, though, there is an obvious path that when you put things in front of players, you expect certain things to happen. And if I do have a list of, like, in a perfect world, if I could guide players through the table members, they would fight them in this order. And the first one would have been Sagittarius, which is also one of the reasons why narratively he was introduced as an inciting incident. Like in the city, because you guys right from the start, like the Sagittarius and Tribulation were the two that the party was informed of their location first, because they became aware of Tribulation when they went through the forest, but Sagittarius tried to pick a fight with them as soon as they arrived. And for that reason, I, as a DM who has to trust in the base instincts of players and be surprised when they deviate from them, had to be like, well, they have these people to kill, they know where one is, I should expect they will probably go try to deal with the information they have. But then then everybody decided to wander around the haunted forest immediately and not take the safe path out of it, and in doing so made Tribulation angry, and in doing so got Lexi sent to the Bastille, and in doing so put themselves in Ravissimo's crosshairs much sooner. So I think that if that hadn't happened, the party would have probably fought Sagittarius, but the short answer is I expected Sagittarius to probably be the first one. But it doesn't, what I expect doesn't really matter all that much.
Kind of just avoided him, not even without meaning to. We just kind of did.
Yep. And then there was another place you could have gone. All the table members kind of have a Curse of Strahd style. They have a place where if you go there, narratively, unless something's stopping them, they will be there to fight you. Like, they all have a place that they will protect. And you guys could have tripped it with Sagittarius. You ended up not. You ended up just causing enough of a ruckus that he came to get you. But I figured you were going to either fight him in the town and seek him out, or you're going to trip him at his place, but nay.
Nope.
Spooky Ghost Forest first.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's delightful. It's a good time.
Spooky
By
yokai
the way,
ghost forest.
Don't be
Oh,
scared
yeah.
of what's about to happen. Are you both?
I'm already terrified.
You're both okay? You're not? Are you scared?
I'm
scared.
always scared.
I brought in Nat19 bot so we can have some
Oh.
calming music.
Hey, Logan, darling, you're coming through the Nat19 bot.
It's true. There's two of you now.
Like, I'm about 2 Logans, because I love Logan, but
Mm-hmm.
Am I now?
no.
No, you're good.
Is there music coming through it?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah, there it
I'm
is.
sorry about that.
I was so
should be.
fully scared, and now I'm fully soothed.
Okay.
Yep.
The music was calming and soothing.
You guys can now hear the nice, pleasant music that we're listening to as well.
Woo.
Oh, finally.
Okay.
Speaking of the table members that we were talking about, dear Avi, given all the table members we've seen, who do you feel is the most redeemable, and who do you think is the most tragic?
Well, he wasn't a table member. So I'd say Barroth would probably be the most redeemable from what Avi understands, but he's also not a table member. No matter how much he wants to think he is, because he's the worst. I do enjoy him. But I think the most tragic that we've met, my instinct is Tribulation, honestly. Just because of what we know of his history, having been a paladin who, fell, like, quote unquote fell to the dark side, as it were. But I think, especially like from Aviana's point of view, Tribulation or Duskull is probably like the most tragic, because a fall like that doesn't come easily. It came from his own hubris, from what we understand, but still, I'd say that's quite tragic, but also I would say, no, I don't think Barroth's that tragic. I do think he's redeemable, though. And for your knowledge, Chase,
Yes.
I got to name drop fucking Hanzo at Barroth, because he was the protector of the High Lord that Hanzo killed. So
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I got to be like, Fujibayashi Hanzo sends his regards, and be like,
it
was great.
The Lord Protector of Summergrass, in the age when heckin' the boy was that Hanzo killed, is he after he failed to protect his High Lord, he sort of became a bit of a drunkard. He would never let himself live down the failure, even though it wasn't really entirely on him, and ended up wandering aimlessly, ended up in Honokuni, and was given a role as the leader of the Zugaiken there by whomever gave him that role, and now he's targeting all his angst about having failed towards doing his job well there. So, yeah, it's, he knows
Nice.
Hanzo. When Hanzo was name dropped, he had a definite reaction to it.
Yeah.
I believe that. I'm not gonna lie, I think that would have been so funny if I wound up having scheduling availability to show up for Nat19 and come into Honokuni as Hanzo and then act like I don't know him. Like, and he just fully wants Hanzo dead so bad, and Hanzo's like, I don't think we've met, sir. I don't know you.
I don't even know who you are.
That's fun. That's a good time.
Man.
That's a fun character. Oh.
You ruined my life! I don't even know who you are.
I don't even necessarily think it'd be like massively badass. It'd just be like, I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I've been like underground or some shit for a while.
I've been in the equivalent of super jail for like 100 years, man. You're gonna need to use complete sentences for me. Oh, that's fun. Okay, I got another question.
Okay.
This one's super complicated, so feel free to take your time on it. Dear Avi, do you need a hug dog?
Desperately. But will she let someone hug her? That's debatable. We'll find out. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you mean. Avi seems super approachable and in touch with her emotions and ready to communicate with people and come to compromises. Yeah.
So emotionally mature, man. Like, she's not stunted at all from trauma. Like,
yeah.
She's great. No emotional stunting, total handle on it. Like, she's so in tune with herself. Yeah. Yeah, a hug would be nice.
That's fair. Next question I have is, Dear Avi, in this particular section of the campaign, madness has been very prevalent. Being that you're confident in your abilities and self-reliant in many ways, does relying on people like Fenris for help curing potential madness frustrate you? Does this leg of the campaign make Avi wish there was more she could do for the group?
Oh, what a good question. It's a really good question. I like that a lot. Okay, so go back to, yes, I need a hug. Yeah, so Aviana's used to just relying on herself, and something that I've noticed has kind of been coming up for her is that she feels she's almost become too reliant on the group in a lot of ways, where she's used to just looking after herself for the most part. So having to rely on Fenris for curing potential madness and anything like that, it's uncomfortable for her having to rely on other people and trusting people. And she trusts the highest standard a lot, which I don't know if this will come up in other questions, but she's pushing back a lot right now on the fact that she trusts people so much and is distancing herself because she cares too much is kind of... So yeah, having to rely on Fenris is very uncomfortable. Having to rely on any of them is a very uncomfortable feeling. And this leg of the campaign make Avi wish she could do more for the group? Absolutely. There is never a time in her life where she wishes she had taken up learning magic more. There's never been a time where she wished she could do more, especially like when like she's strong and she knows she's a good fighter. But when, like, for instance, when Lexi got taken away from her, she was just completely distraught. Like, she couldn't do anything. Like, that was like the first step in her feeling utterly helpless.
Yeah,
So.
I get that. I mean, grandma baby Lexi is as
Yeah.
far as I've seen, is very near and dear. So yeah, that's plus from Avi's perspective at the start, didn't it look like Lexi just straight up fucking died.
Yeah, she from Aviana's perspective, she just saw Lexi get ashed away. She was just gone.
Big old fiery explosion. Ashes and magic items remain.
That was it.
Oof.
And she, instead of crying or freaking out that way, she may or may not have tackled Miriam to the ground and started beating the shit out of him. Because, yep. Could have hugged him. Could have gone for comfort, but nay.
Nope.
We know how to regulate our emotions healthily here.
For sure. Oh, what a
emotional
good time.
bag. It's just great.
Emotional damage.
That's Avi. She needs that on a shirt.
It's Honokuni in general, just a repeating, self-interrupting gif of emotional damage.
It's the remix that you can put on Twitch for like the sound alerts. There's a song remix of emotional damage.
I haven't heard it.
I'll send it to you.
Sounds incredible.
It's really funny.
Oh, I got serious emotional damage, and all I got was therapy. It's on Avi's shirt. Oh,
everyone in the highest standard needs therapy.
honestly,
Anyway.
fair. Oh, next question I have is for Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Logan, is there an NPC that you had no plans for, but the party loved them so much that you fleshed them out more?
Jerky. Jerky the Talker. But he first I'm gonna just quickly tag on something that'll actually answer the question. Jerky was supposed to be just a thing that either they could let him out and he'd be mad and attack the group, or he'd, if left alone, if let out, attack the gnolls, then attack the group. But they loved him, and they gave him food and eventually awakened him, and now he's Weenie Shere Khan. And Jerky's gone a lot farther than I ever expected Jerky to go. But let's see. An NPC that I had no plans for, but the party loved them so much that I fleshed them out more. I suppose... I
mean, Jerky even got a lordship, I heard.
It's true.
He is Lord Jerky of Summergrass.
He is Lord Jerky of Summergrass. So... I'm tempted to say Merry Mist, because Merry Mist was an incident. I can't speak much to it because a lot of it hasn't really come out, but they weren't, you know, in that you're not supposed to do something in D&D, for whatever that means. They weren't supposed to be in Satsumaru's castle when they were, and the inhabitants of the mirror were not really supposed to be encountered in the manner that they were. Again, in that not supposed to is meaningless in D&D. But Merry Mist could have just as easily been left there or fucked off and gone off to do their own thing. But they took a liking to Merry Mist. They took Merry Mist with them, and they gave Merry Mist a library, and she's doing stuff. She's has a much more secure role than I thought she would in the story as like a tertiary element that drives Vogan. So she's an example. I'm gonna, as soon as we move on, I'm gonna think of a really obvious good answer to this question. I know it.
I still feel Jerky was
I think
a very
Jerky's
solid
the best
answer.
I really think so. God, I love him.
Yeah, I didn't expect Jerky to become the Pikachu of the group. And I know you guys can't see it at home, but just cause I just wanna jerky.
I love him.
There's some other characters. Fallsbin and heckin'
Skimper.
Yeah. They ended up being more than I thought they would. Yeah, it's there's some that went farther than I thought they would. The problem with that question, and the problem with a lot of planning related questions, is like I put things around people and I do not really plan for them to go anywhere. I plan as far as like inciting incidents and world events and like character motivated things, but I try to avoid ever being like, this character will in the future like be the big bad, you know? Like I try to avoid like this, they will eventually go on this journey and be like at this place at this time, unless it's totally background stuff or it's totally character motivated. So I avoid planning as much as I just try to set balls in motion.
That's fair.
That's my, and it's worked out really well. I find if you follow motivation as opposed to scripted story beats, in my the way I do it, I find it usually ends up being satisfying because it feels very organic, and it's hard to fuck up a plan if you don't have a plan.
It's fair.
Yeah, jerky. Final answer, jerky.
Jerky. There you go.
Jerky the Tiger.
Speaking of Lord Jerky the Tiger, dear Ultimate Bird, if Fenris ever comes out of her insanity, would your relationship with her recover? Or do you... who knows? I mean, if Fenris ever comes out of her obviously very real, completely definitely real insanity that is very real, would your relationship with her recover? Or do you think her defensive paranoia, caused from her obviously very real insanity, has damaged your connection?
I think they can definitely come out the other side of this. Aviana cares about Fenris a lot. Cares about everyone in the group a lot, but she really does care about Fenris. And there's sort of an added layer there where she's, especially here, rather protective of Fenris, which is why she's been so adamant about, hey, you should heal yourself. Hey, friend, just in fucking case. Hello! Because of Aviana's previous relationship with Tantia and her deep friendship with her, and having talked with Tantia before they left, and it's like, hey, both of you need to come back. Aviana kind of doesn't give two shits about herself. She cares if these people that matter to her get out. Right now, she's in a bit of a different place, but ultimately, that's kind of where she's at. She's very protective of Fenris, and she wants this to resolve. She wants to come out the other side of this, but she doesn't know how. Because she doesn't... Navigating that sort of thing, navigating anything emotional is very difficult for Aviana, and everything kind of just comes out as anger, and right now the anger's kind of evaporated into just the sadness. She is sad bird. But yeah, to wind it back, because I'm a tangent bean, I think they can recover. At least, I hope they can.
Dude, speaking of how Avi handles difficult situations, the world would have been doomed if she went down a barbarian path instead of a rogue path. Like, if she could weaponize the amount of anger she feels about things, no one would stand a chance ever. It would just be over.
Yeah, I actually thought about taking... It's funny that you say that. I thought about taking barbarian levels with her. I had a caveat for it, and also realized I was like, the build wouldn't work as well as like I thought it would initially, just with how Avi is built, especially now. I could play around with it, but I was gonna take barbarian levels with her. I was thinking about it during the whole, I wanted to call it the Crack in the Sky arc, but that's not what it's called. It's the fucking, all the stuff with Tenebros, with the crystallization. If Rory had remained dead, being that is like her bestie, that's her boy, and has been such a constant in her life. If he had stayed dead, I think I would have started taking barbarian levels with her instead of rogue. I would have just gone full barbarian with her because that would have just been too emotional of an experience for her that I think she would have just started living only in that anger that she has.
That's fair. I get that.
Yeah.
That would have been a bad time.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Yeah, kinda.
It's true.
Would have made that everyone's problem. I mean, fair though. I get it. It's fair. That's fair. Next Avi question I have. Dear Avi, assuming Barroth becomes convinced to join your side and he eventually returns to Summergrass, would you help him in redeeming his name? Barroth versus Hanzo cage match when?
I wouldn't want to re-traumatize the man with Hanzo cage match. I want to fight Hanzo. But that's a different. That's another fucking scenario. I would say if he eventually returns to Summergrass, if he decided to join their side and was serious about it and did come back to Summergrass, she would do what she could. That's her bag. That's kind of what she do. She would try to help him redeem his name. I mean, she kind of knows the current Lord Protector, kind of, very loosely. Just dating his brother, so kind of, there's an in there. So I think she would do what she could to help him redeem his name. Probably tell him, like, hey, start small. If you're gonna start helping people again, start small and slowly rebuild things because that's how it's gonna work. Don't go in full force. It's not gonna go well. But I think she would be committed to helping him if he was serious.
I mean,
but no cage matches.
Dang it. That's fine. I understand.
Unless Hanzo wanted it.
Hanzo's just like, cracks knuckles, let me finish the job.
Like,
Oh, God.
well, it's out of my hands.
Next question I have is for Logan.
Oh, it's a me question. What's up?
Dear Loganithus Maximus.
That's
Oh,
me.
that's cute.
There was once talk of Flint going with the highest standard to the Skywall. How would he be doing if he was with the party in Honokuni? Failing a few madness checks, maybe?
Wow. How would Flint be doing in Honokuni? I think the answer is probably he wouldn't. Flint... So there's two versions of this question. Is Flint was there with them, and then there's Flint and the Kitsadria pups that he brings would be there with him.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, that would be... I think that might break Flint. I think that might... He would be highly... I think actually he'd be more highly motivated to get out than any of the other members of the party, purely for the fact that his loved ones would be in danger there. And he gets wicked territorial about the pups that he takes care of. I think that mentally he might actually do okay. I don't have his stat sheet in front of me, and it's been a long time since I looked at it, but I have a vague recollection of his wisdom not being that bad. But no, he definitely is the type who would probably be acting impulsively there. He would probably be separating from the group to try to complete objectives. I could see him being the type to act out of anger and forget the rules of the hunt, and if he wasn't hunted, for example, try to kill the table members on his own.
Yeah.
I would see Flint, depending on what inciting incidents come his way, becoming a massive liability there. Impossible to know without knowing the exact details, but things like tribulation would scare the bejeebus out of him.
Yeah. It sounds like there's not a lot of routes in which Flint does well.
No, everything about Honokuni is very bad, because Flint is like fucking fun adopted dad that's just trying to show his kids that he's cooler than mom, and Honokuni does not make him cooler than mom.
That's the worst road trip ever for the kids.
Though that said, if he did decide to go to the Skywall with the group, I cannot imagine he would bring the pups with him, because there would have been a lot of danger associated. He probably would have left them back with, like, Mary Mist or something.
Mary Mist look after all the puppies now.
That would be a
Oh.
nightmare.
Mini Myra, all the Kidsadria babies. Just leave him in, like, Avi's house in the, like, far end of the Electri district. Just, it's basically a giant litter box anyway.
Mary Miss Mascot Mansion, starring Lord Jerky. Oh, that's a good time. Next question I have is also for Logan. Dear Logan, is there a moment in Honokuni so far that surprised you or caught you off guard? More broadly, any standout moments you enjoyed? I know you'd mentioned you don't really plan for a lot of stuff, but not planning for a lot of stuff doesn't necessarily eliminate surprises.
Yeah, there's still, like, particular aligning of stars moments that are still shocking. Things that surprised me or caught me off guard. Things that caught me off guard. I think... So there's a few things that I found really interesting given when they happened. For example, the group leaving the path out of the forest to try to investigate what they would find out to be the Saigo family graveyard, burial grounds. That was interesting. That gave them a few bits of information way ahead of time compared to what they would have had, and the party actually did really well in almost getting into the place until they hit a forbidden spell that was like, do you know the name of this god in a tongue that doesn't exist anymore? And they were like, yeah, not really.
Like, no.
Let's see. Beyond that, trying to really rack my brain here. Lexi being killed. The culmination of those events resulting in Lexi being killed was really interesting for me because it means that the next large chunk of time would be dedicated to Lexi being in the Bastille, which means Artorias was introduced in a way that I didn't think that they would be, and Ravissimo kind of became the initial major threat. If I had to, like, pin where people would go after the table members, as I said earlier, Ravissimo would probably have been, like, the third or fourth. Because the Bastille was one of the most well-guarded places in Honokuni. So, I guess, I'm trying to think if there's a moment that surprised me. A moment that surprised me. Them, by pure chance, one of the madnesses Flux got being that they were briefly endowed with the memories of a dead resident of Honokuni, which turned out to be a Firbolg related to one they'd already met, who had knowledge of a secret room in a place they'd already been in, that had a whole bunch of old texts and whatnot from, like, research from, like, before Honokuni became what it is, that spoke about the situation with Saigo, with Samurai Saigo, with some of Hirohito, that had information on the name of the god, the dragon god they were looking for. The fact that just the stars aligned and random tables rolled in such a way that he got that information in a timely manner when they were going there, and he was like, think I'm a Firbolg, but also I now know about a secret room that we need to go look for. I think that was really fun because I had very little actual, like, direct control over it. Actually, just this last session, I think there was one in that Nemrick died, like, straight out. They fought Tribulation again. Nemrick got killed. He was just turned to ash, but because the Bastille's flooded, he wouldn't be transported there. He was just murdered by Tribulation. Miriam used his one instance of resurrection that from Fierna that would trigger if Miriam himself died. He used it to bring back Nemrick and failed. And because of the nature of Honokuni, and there is a mechanic in place that if you fail a resurrection check, you can try it again with advantage, if you allow Honokuni to influence the check. And this particular instance involved this dark feminine spirit, this shadow that had been tormenting them in another room they'd been in before, appearing to Miriam and revealing that it is, and this is, I guess, kind of spoilers? I guess this is a good place for me to expand on this. It is the vestigial remains of Shar. Most of the gods, most of the gods from the Forgotten Realms within Sumnus Domina are either depowered or changed or whatnot. It was what remains of Shar as bound to the Shadowfell. And he didn't speak to them, but he had a brief encounter with this lingering aspect of Shar that took a little bit of something from Nemrick's soul in exchange for helping the ritual work out. And I think the culmination of Miriam using the resurrection at that time, it failing, and then me getting to do that only because they had encountered this shade before, and then through it, me being able to give him this minor vision of, through Shar's point of view, what happened to the Forgotten Realms, which it wasn't enough for him to understand, because, you know, fucking, we're here to play D&D, we're not at the point where he's just gonna know everything, but giving him some information of what happened to the Forgotten Realms and the old gods. He saw visions of things that happened. That was fun. That was very much me as a GM getting swept up in the possibilities of the moment and not having planned any of it, but indulging on a stream of consciousness level, which I find is where I'm at my best. But yeah, that was that one. I think that's like the most interesting, because that also has implications outside of Honokuni.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's some crazy cool stuff.
Yeah.
I want to go back and listen to that moment because I was so emotional because I'm like, fuck it, Nemrick.
Hey, while we're on the topic, Hayden, I just have a random question for you. How do you feel now knowing that, well, you guys were in the underground, the Soul Chamber, which is, I'll call it that for the purposes of what we're doing. When you were in the Soul Chamber, which may or may not have been its own demi-plane outside of Honokuni, when you were in there, how do you feel now knowing that you were the thing that was basically madness pranking you was Shar? Do you know much about Shar?
I don't, actually.
They're effectively the god of darkness and the void. Like, they created the Shadowfell in Forgotten Realms lore. They fight their greatest enemy is Selûne, the moon, the god of the moon. They're basically the feminine embodiment of darkness, and they would like the universe to go back to being an empty void. So.
And they were fucking pranking me,
and they were messing with people because they could.
And they have a sense of humor also in their wish to return everything to the void.
One of their aspects, one of their titles is the Mistress of Pain, and they enjoy seizing chances to torment people when they can get it.
See, what came out of that is her friends didn't really think she was, like, insane. They're, like, kind of dubious about it. But my favorite thing that came out of that was Nemrick saying, it's like, well, she hasn't yelled at me in 5 minutes, so she's probably crazy. And I'm like, yeah. That is Avi, huh?
There's so much about that room that you guys didn't know. There's a thing in there that there's no way. It's one of those weird DM things where I'm like, there's a thing in there that there's no way for me to deliver the information to you, and there's no way you'd readily know about it. But that room has probably the most... That room has the most potential to change the nature of this chunk of the campaign. Like, it's a big... And now it's flooded, so...
Yep.
Yeah, no, that room's totally...
It's definitely totally flooded. The water definitely made it down there.
Oh, yeah. Through the so magical darkness that this bitch couldn't see through with their devil sight, so, you know.
Magical darkness created by the remains of the goddess of the void. If that makes sense.
Yep.
That makes a lot more sense, yeah.
If anyone could do it.
I still call bullshit. I have devil sight, Logan. Come on, man.
Oh, that's a good time. Speaking of Nemrick, I had a question for Avi. which I assumed there would be context delivered when I asked it, but if there's not, then my apologies. But, dear Avi, sup, Burb Girl, how do you justify not killing Nemrick?
Ooh, it's been tempting. It has been tempting. It's been very tempting.
Nemrick's going in the grave.
Because that's how Avi sings, you know. Yes, man. Fucking suburb girl. How she justifies not killing him? Basically, Miriam told her not to when they first encountered him. Way back when, which I would say feels like forever ago. It was forever ago when we first met Nemrick, which is crazy. I was before episode of Hundi. Yeah, that was like maybe in the 80s, I want to say, if I'm remembering right. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah.
It sounds right.
Yeah,
late 80s, mid 90s maybe. I think, wasn't episode 90 the first Honokuni episode?
I want to say yes. I do want to say yes because, yeah, we were in Stepped Under during like the early 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds right. 80 sounds right.
Yeah. I have a weird memory for episode numbers and I don't know why. But anyway, how she justifies not killing Nemrick is basically, Miriam told her not to. It was like, hey, kind of stand down, don't do anything fucking you right now, in a more Miriam way, in a much more charming way. But yeah, she was basically just told not to by her friends, and she's still suspicious of him. But right after seeing him get resurrected and stuff like that, who knows? Who knows where she's at? We'll see in future episodes. But I'm like, I think who knows? She might be reevaluating a little bit about how to be around him, seeing as her friends are willing to do what they did. But who knows?
Yeah, could be misremembering, but it looks like Nemrick showed up in 88.
Yeah, I remembered it being in the 80s.
Yeah.
Way back in the 80s.
God.
What a time. Oh.
What a thing to say.
What a thing to say. Next question I have is for Logan.
Oh.
Dear Logan, if you don't mind sharing, what was Valder's reaction to learning Rory and Aviana had started dating?
Oh!
Yes, please tell me!
What would Valder's Valder is a relatively stoic individual. He does his job. He's a nice guy. But Avi is also a known criminal and has been in jail multiple times, and the only reason she's been out of jail those times and avoided execution, if I'm going to be honest, is because Rory keeps stepping in. So I'm sure Valder's reaction when told, I like to imagine there being just a family dinner with the two of them sitting on opposite ends of a long table, quietly eating, and the information being delivered from Rory with all the casual energy of, could you please pass the gravy, followed up quickly by the way, guess who I'm dating. I imagine there was several days of silence from Valder. That would have been when he was deciding how he felt about that, followed by a long, gratuitous lecture about how that he cannot protect you from the law if he is dating you, and that if anything happens from this point forward, Rory has to accept that because this is going to look very bad if he continues to shelter Avi more so than before. However, I'm certain that underneath it all, Valder would probably be very happy for Rory, and he would be, as Lord Protector of Summergrass, he would be very worried about the fact that his younger brother is currently dating the most notorious vigilante in the city, but as the older brother, he's probably happy that the thing that was definitely going to happen finally happened.
Hold on, you have feelings for the bird girl? I never noticed.
What?
Insanity.
The
So
moment
shocked.
of being told was probably like a very silent Valder's being told while like cutting something on his plate with a knife, and just the moment it's like, by the way, Aviana and I are seeing each other, just the sound of cutlery slipping and the knife cutting into wood, just I see.
To what capacity? That's fucking funny. Oh, that's so fun. I received a question which I don't know if you'd like to answer it, Logan. It was a general DM question.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure if we wanted to keep it purely to Nat19 stuff, or if you're cool with a DM tip or two.
I guess show me the question and I'll tell you if I'm good.
That one.
Yeah, sure. I'm good to answer this.
Okay,
I think
cool.
this is actually a good thing to put out there.
Yeah, okay. Dear Logan, how do you feel generally about including third-party stuff that's not your own?
So I do it quite frequently. I'm a big fan of, in particular, the Kobold Press material. I always have been. I've been moving a little bit away from it as my style tends to lean more in the direction of, like, making a lot of my own content. I am a big fan of, like, the Creature Codexes, the Tome of Beasts. There's some other things I occasionally draw from. Weirdly, there's a system called Espergenesis that I have fantasies about one day just crashing a spaceship into somewhere in Vestige and just having this high-tech setting briefly invade for no reason. But I think it's totally fine. As we become more business-like and professional, I do find myself wondering about what my responsibilities are, given the way the show's going. And I like to think about that in terms of, well, if somebody was to use a bunch of my content, what would I want them to do? And the answer has basically landed on, I think it's totally fine as long as you make sure you cite sources unless they're incredibly obvious. For example, some people have asked me if it's okay if they use my stuff in their streams, and my answer has always been, it's totally fine. Please just, if you could shout out where it's from at some point, so that people know where to find more of the same, and also maybe, like, include a call out or a link in whatever descriptions or whatnot you have. That seems like a very, support people thing to do. I say that, though, but I don't do that for Kobold Press, but that's largely because, in my mind, Kobold Press is a large enough creator that we've mentioned it enough that I find people can find it readily. So my feelings are basically, if you think it's obvious or it's easy to find the source of things and you mention enough where things come from, then don't worry too much about it. But if you're using content from small third-party creators, or less more colloquial, like the homebrew stuff people throw up on, like the homebrewery or whatnot, I think it's important to call out where it comes from to support the things you're using, and I would do that, except I don't personally use much outside of the Tome of Beasts. I mean, we use the Blood Hunter, so technically, I guess shout out to Matt Mercer, but, like, did anyone need to hear that? Hey guys, did you know there's this D&D show called Critical Role?
No, what's that?
This guy named Matt Mercer, up-and-coming voice actor, likes to run it with some of his friends. They're all pretty good. I think I've heard them in one or two things. I'm pretty sure some of them voice acted in the 90s or something. It's very, like, there's no rule to it, but if people use my things, I'd want them to do some kind of shout out and just say, like, hey, we're using content like the Kitsadria from Nat19 or the Sword Saint, and I say those because they're the most popular things right now. And then maybe have a link to either our channel or the drive-through thing. And I understand that might be contentious for some people because, that's real estate in your descriptions, but I think it's fair, and I think in the spirit of collaboration, it's worth doing, and I think paying your dues to other creators is important. But if it's someone who is so widely published that you could, for example, find their books in a physical store, I think that calling out their names or the company verbally is enough, and I don't think you need a link to them. Kobold Press, for example.
Fair.
Yeah.
I get that.
I think Matt Mercer has similar thoughts. I think he's basically stated before, I think whenever they were like putting like touching up copyright law on his stuff and being like, you can't just use our stuff freely, I think he mentioned that they considered crediting the Taldore books like in your description. That was more than enough for them to not care about you using their content, and I feel largely the same.
Mm-hmm.
Understandable. I think that makes sense.
I hope that was a long meandering answer. I apologize.
I get that.
Have you heard any of my answers, Logan?
Speaking of your answers, next question is for Avi. Dear Avi, when are you going to embrace your inner bard and play Vox Victoria like the shiny green fiddle it is?
Yeah.
Get you some spellcaster levels.
Yeah, Avi, when are you going to be a songbird?
She has been a songbird! She just hasn't played Vox Victoria. We just sung on the show.
Ravens are songbirds, right?
Sure.
Of course.
Caca! That's how she sings. Gonna embrace her inner bard and play Vox Victoria. She's like plucked at it a couple times, and she's been like fiddling with it a little bit more and more. She was very apprehensive to do so, mostly because the fucking highest standard was like, "Hey, play your fucking swords." Me. That's my impression of the entirety of the highest standard from Aviana's point of view. You're welcome.
Let's pull the suction cup, man. Hey, I wrote you a song. Fuck you.
Yeah, basically. No, she's been fiddling with it more and more, and I don't know if she'd ever like get fully into playing an instrument, but she does enjoy singing, so who knows? Maybe. I don't know if she would take spellcaster levels, mostly because I, the player, want to get deep into what I get from my vigilante role.
Depending on what you take, I don't think you can.
I can't.
Your charisma's a 10.
My charisma.
You could.
Yeah.
You cast cantrips.
Yeah, no, she couldn't be a bard.
You could.
Charisma.
You could maybe be a wizard.
Yeah, maybe. I did just up my intelligence, so maybe I'll be a shitty wizard.
There you go.
There you go. No, I don't think she would take spellcasting levels anyway. She's cool with the spells she gets from Vox Victoria. She's better at stabbing things. It's more her bag.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she likes to sing. Who knows? Maybe she'll sing more.
Yeah, that's fair. Dear Logananan.
That Logananan boy.
The Logananan boy. Through Lord Barroth Castle, parentheses, the actual worst, close parentheses, we recently learned some unique world building you snuck into the history of the setting. What was your approach to writing your setting that led to you to include small stories like his?
I suppose I just enjoy it when, like, the world has active elements in the background, when everybody has something like, you guys could never have found out about Tribulation. Like, there's like, you guys have like a connection to Tribulation because you found Duskull's sword, went through a whole thing with Quintus with it, eventually found out who he was through Vigami, and then, like, by the time you fought Tribulation the second time, you had all this understanding of him, and that gave him character, even though really all he was mechanically was Fire Horseman who attacked you twice.
Yep.
And I think that it's important to have characters have histories and goals and to be involved in some kind of world politics on some level, because it gives them grounding. And if you can have enough to say about a character without them being around, like have other people be able to give information, be able to connect them to something the party already knows, give them a position, I just feel it adds character. I also just enjoy active worlds, and so I suppose I enjoy representing them. I like it when the world, not when it's outpacing the players, but I like it when there is more to the world than the actions of the players. And
yeah,
Honokuni is a great example of that. Things like the Astral Perceptory, the Cauldron, a lot of things are going on with the family. There's still so much about Diane that the party hasn't found out that I kind of hope they do in the long run, but there's so many, like Scandal does and has done so much more than the stuff in Summergrass. I suppose I have a mind for characters having enough of a history that I can understand what motivates them now. So I like to invest a lot of time in writing those histories, not because I think they should come up and not because I think they're important for the players to know, but because they're useful and because they motivate me while I'm DMing those characters.
Yeah.
And it's enough that I do. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, there's so few characters in this campaign, though. There's only like 5 or 6 NPCs total.
Yeah,
like that, so you should be able to keep track of that all in your head, I think.
Yeah, it's true. I don't like to get a lot of. I don't like to crowd the players with NPCs. You're right. You're definitely.
We basically have no NPCs in this campaign. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's really wild.
But what was I about to say? It is something that, I don't know if I'll ever feel equipped to do like a GMing tips series or anything. Maybe someday I will. But if I could say this as an attached thought, the way that I world build is not something I recommend people do just because of the sheer amount of time that goes into it. Like, I recommend against doing what I do to people because people tend to get caught up in it. I think I'm pretty good at streamlining what I need to do rather than getting lost in the information I'm trying to generate. And I can also, Nat19 lets me do it largely as a job, which a lot of people don't get the payout on the other side of putting in that much effort, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't recommend people put as much time and energy and write, like, several pages for most major NPCs and, like, paragraphs, and, like, I have tables of things that will never matter, but if you ever find yourself in a position where that appeals to you and is advantageous, I find it's good to write them. Actually, in case anyone cares, and in case it's interesting to anybody, the way that I write NPCs these days is I imagine writing their information as if they were an entry in a campaign module, which usually means I try to think of 3 very important things to them. One of them usually being their history, one usually being like their faction connections, and one being whatever motivates them, and I try to write a chunky paragraph or 2 describing those aspects of them as if I was trying to inform someone of how to run them. Because by doing that, I generate everything I'm going to need to run them. And in doing so, I find holes in what I was planning, and I find ways to, like, deal with those and uncover those, and I can, like, when you write things out, you find lapses in logic that you don't necessarily see when it's all just information in your head. So especially as of Honokuni, I've been doing that as a practice of being like, if I was to put this as a monster entry, as a character entry into, like, if I was describing Strahd in the Strahd manual at the back, what would I include for someone to know how to run him and to understand him? And that's how I approach NPC building. I kind of tangented there. I'm sorry. I'm very meandering today.
It's all good. It's all fine.
All good. No, it's good information. I enjoy it.
I also think that it's important to write NPCs from, you know, having a fleshed out backstory more seriously when you do have as many NPCs as are in this game. Because, yeah, otherwise you're just going to run into a lot of 2-dimensional characters that are just, like, kind of there as set pieces or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's much harder to sandbox things when, you know, characters aren't fleshed out. They're more narrative tools to move your story along than sandbox elements that can be explored at whatever speed they got to, basically.
When characters have their own motivations, it's a lot easier to poke them and be like, this will push them in this specific direction. Yeah, it's, I don't like it when I'm playing a module and, like, a character is introduced and, like Tyranny of Dragons is a good example. It's a basic one, but, like, when some of the characters in the raid on Greenhest in that are like, this is, I can't remember his name, but this is, like, Ergen, the battle master of Greenest. He has the keys to a tunnel, and it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
And you're, like, left to extrapolate, and I'm like, you could have written, like, a paragraph or something to endow him with some kind of character. Like, I really hate it when things introduce characters and they're like, this character is part of the Zentarum and they like killing.
Woo!
Done. And I'm like, that's not enough.
I feel like if you're not playing D&D for a lot of roleplay and you're just in it to roll the click-clacks, then that can actually be very valuable shorthand if that's what your game's like. But outside of that, I feel like a lot of our our peeps in our circles for D&D are very roleplay heavy.
Yes.
Which that is just altogether not enough information about that character.
No, you need to give me juice.
Yeah, of course.
Is what I need.
Everything I ever say as advice only applies to if you want to approach D&D from the same direction I do, which is a love for narrative and storytelling, and in my case, for very big set piece based storytelling. And if you don't care for those things, my advice may not land as well.
Fair. Just like, all right, I followed Logan's advice. I wrote 17 paragraphs about this big villain, and the players are engaging in combat before I have a chance to roleplay.
Yeah. If your players are the kind who, if the big bad's monologuing, they say, well, he's talking, I fire my crossbow, then my advice is not for your table.
That's fair. Next question I have is also for Logan, also about NPCs.
Oh, jeez.
Dear Logan, out of all the NPCs from Honokuni that the party has met so far, which one were you looking forward to role-playing the most? Did the party's interactions with that NPC go how you thought they might?
The two that I looked forward to and continue looking forward to the most, there's three. I'd say there's three that are tied. One hasn't shown up yet. One is Samurai, because he's a very interesting character, shrouded... Not that he's trying to hide anything, but he is shrouded in a lot of uncertainty. So, and I like playing with the aura that this eternal child lord of Honokuni, who is unconcerned with the gravity of the world around them, who sees things in very simple terms, but clearly has more going on behind the scenes than they would care to admit. I really like them. The fact that they can be so intimidating and cryptic when you were all at the dinner, but then when you're like, you want to play hide and seek? And he's like, would I? Oh my god! And the fact that he creates this aura of he is a dangerous person, we need to pander to this child or else we'll be in trouble. That is a fun dynamic with the party. Anytime the party is forced to act in a specific way, it's fun. When they're pushed out of their norms, because it means a relationship is working. Another one is Mother Tier. Mother Tier is one of my favorite, if not my favorite character in Honokuni. And her presence as someone who is stuck there and is trying to do her best to fix things and help people be comfortable without upsetting the status quo is a very fun line to play. And I think the party's interactions with her and their uncertainty about whether or not they can trust Mother Tier, which is what I take it, like Miriam is very on the side of thinking that she's a member of the table. I really enjoy the dynamic because she's really no one's ally and she's granted special permissions by Samurai and the party doesn't really know why yet. And the other one, they haven't encountered yet. It's Gelfus.
Dude, I'm so excited. From everything that, like, Nocia and... Is it Enchig or Enchig?
Enchig.
I can never... Okay, that's what I thought, but I'm like, I can never fucking remember. From everything they've mentioned about him, I'm so excited.
For your edification, Chase, they noted that past Dead Man's Wake, which is where they're going now, there's the southern side of Honokuni, which the table and Samurai don't have as much influence over, because there is a person there who is thought of by some people as a deity, but the Stars of Ilium know to be a incredibly powerful sorcerer named Gelfus, who takes a great deal of energy to thwart the table at every chance. He has been purported to have this massive rivalry with Hirohito, the guardian and servant of Samurai, the one who's always by his side protecting him, who everyone's been warned not to fight because you will die. He has a massive rivalry with him. They hate each other. I think I've dropped it in game that he is the person Hirohito hates the most in Honokuni. But he's so good at protecting that area, and he makes it his point of protecting that territory and keeping it away from the table and Samurai that they can't get there and take over. Every time they come close, even though he's not a hunt member, Gelfus is able to repel them because he's just that powerful. Spoiler tags, if they try to get there, they're gonna get hit with meteors.
Damn.
And the Stars of Ilium, who are another force that's trying to liberate Honokuni and be good for it, talked about trying to meet up with him at one point, and they were dismissed, and they describe him as being impossible to deal with. And when they basically asked him like what they could do to assist in aiding Honokuni, they said that his response was basically mind your own business and leave me alone. So I'm looking very forward to the party finally encountering Gelfus and getting to interact with him and be frustrated with him.
I'm so excited. Logan, I need you to know that the picture of him in my head is probably way less cool than he actually is, but for some reason, stay with me on this, for some reason, every time I picture Gelfus, I picture like a really swole dude wearing like but the thing, stay with me, okay. But wearing like a Tommy Bahama like Hawaiian shirt and board shorts, and I don't know why, but that is the image in my head.
It's just this fucking tourist who's like sees Jakku's like fucking giant airship coming towards them, and he's just looking from the top of the mountain spire he lives on, just sipping from like a coconut drink, just being like, not today. Puts other hand out, meteors fall from the side of the sky as the sound of slurping through a straw from the coconut is going.
I don't know why that's the image in my head,
Just
but it is, and I
midlife crisis douchebag. Oh, that's not what he is. That's definitely. You're going to be surprised.
I can't wait to know what he actually is, but until then, he's just a guy in like a Hawaiian shirt, and that's the image that I'm gonna like enjoy until it's shattered.
The image I have in my head, based on this very short snippet you've told me about, is a gnome-sized Diogenes who just lives in a big clay pot and is very angry and like wears rags and just doesn't want anyone to ever talk to him ever.
Fucking
That's what my
party tries to talk to him. He fucking they try to knock on his pot. They end up back at the like where they came into Honokuni instantly, and they don't know why. And the fucking Miriam's like, I know what he just fucking did. He just cast Wish. He just used Wish to move us away from him.
Oh, so funny.
Son of a bitch.
God damn.
Now Gelfus is so I'm looking forward to him. He's also got he's one of those characters that you guys have technically seen him before. In a way.
Oh, that's fun.
I love when you tell me that shit, because then I'm like, okay.
But you probably won't realize it even after you meet him. You probably won't realize where you know him from.
Yeah, because I've never met anyone in a Hawaiian shirt that's not casual attire in Summergrass, man. Duh.
That's his true form. He wouldn't walk around in his true form. Gotta have that true sight on at all times to catch that dude in the Hawaiian shirt.
All right, wrench.
Next question I have is for Avi. Dear Avi, is there a ship you want to see happen, whether you realize it or not?
Hold on. Is the question for Avi or Hayden?
I was like, from Avi's point of view, she doesn't give a fuck.
That's fair.
Are people are they cool with each other? Are they gonna treat each other well? Cool. I will say, she low-key is like, you know, it kind of sucks that Argo and Miriam didn't fuck. But whatever. that was in the back of her mind for a little bit, and she's like, whatever. Yeah. Especially now, she's like, it's probably for the best.
I was so on that train until he depressed the fuck out of Argo.
Yeah, dude, I was heckin' Avi was ready to, no pun intended, wingman the fuck out of that.
Meh.
Poorly, because for she is Aviana Kolesh. But I don't think there's anyone that she's like, yeah, they should get together. She has anti-ships, because she's bird mom, and she's like, hey, yo, Quintus isn't good enough for you, Lexi. No one's good enough for you. because I've decided you're my daughter, even though that's weird. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mom at you, even though I'm not gonna notice I'm momming at you.
Lexi, you are my child grandmother, and
That's why
I will
call
baby
her.
you.
That's why she's my fox grandma daughter. That's why I call her that. But no, I don't think Avi has anyone really. She got the one she wanted for herself.
Hey.
Yay. I Hayden, kind of same boat. I just like watching things play out. And just like I love watching relationships blossom, whether they are like romantic or not. Watching I'm like, I know this is steering away from like the ship question, but I'm gonna take this in just relationships in general. I know, right? We don't do that here. Watching the relationship between Nemrick and Fenris has been really interesting to me, and watching that sibling relationship happen has been unique. I love watching just characters kind of grow together or apart in different ways, and that's kind of the fun. That's a big part of like what I love about D&D is relationships of all kinds. So romantic ships, meh. I'm very interested in learning more about Tag and seeing Nemrick flirt with him more to no avail because it's hilarious.
Mr. Gucci himself.
I do love Mr. Gucci.
Mr.
Dad.
Gucci is very wonderful. Similar level of energy and stakes to the last question. Something low key, not at all emotionally trying. Dear Ave Maria, have you come to terms with the fact that you might have to fight your own mom, if not kill her?
While you answer that, I gotta step away real quick.
I will remember you.
I will remember you. We're just filling time. Aviana, it's everything with her mom is very tough. I think there's a part of her that knows, or not knows, but is just, yeah, I guess there's a part of her that knows that she will eventually have to face off with her mom in some way if she does eventually find her, because that is a big thing that drives her, is finding her mother. And it's something that she can't let go, which I think has been pretty evident, which is why I feel cool to say that. It's that she is basically incapable of letting go of her mom and moving on from that. Especially in Honokuni right now. Everything, she said as much to Tag in her own way, because Taguchi doesn't really know about like her mom stuff, so she wasn't going to go into that. If she'd been talking to Miriam at that point in time, she probably would have gone more into it. But when she was saying to Tag, it's like everything in Honokuni kind of feels familiar. And what she meant by that is everything like the yokai and everything. And it kind of feels like she's surrounded by part of her lineage in a way. And everything is kind of reminding her of her mom, which is part of where her fragility is coming from right now. So in terms of if she ever is able to find her mother, she has a lot of questions, definitely. And that's what she wants, is to ask those questions. But she's aware that she might have to fight her if it comes to it. And I'm like, whether she could or not, that's the biggest question, is whether she really could. And if she had to kill her, I don't know what that would do to her.
That sounds like something we'd have to find out about.
I'm like, I don't know what that would do to her. Because she's almost been like a haunting presence for Avi. So I think having to actually face down that and like really think what Hathoyura has done, she's more trying not to think about it. But I think that's the best I can answer that question.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Pain train incoming. Choo choo. Next station, Aviana Kolesh.
Speaking of choo-choo, dear Avi, we all know of a certain fox girl's love for strawberries. How about our bird girl? Do you have any favorite foods you love to chew?
Yes! Also good segue. Good job.
Yeah, anytime.
Good job. I think her favorite food is it's those like filled croissants. With like filled with like she really likes like salty and savory foods. She likes richer foods when she can get them. Steal them. She likes those like filled croissants with like spinach and feta and cheese and stuff like that. So those like saltier, savory things, anything that's like buttery, really like stuff like that. That or like her favorite like way to like wind, like when she was like still just like alone living like in her little shack, was like tea, which is something that she took from like her mother. Wonder why. Drinking like she would like tea and like just like dark chocolate, just like softer flavors like that kind of at night. That's like her little wind down, do her journals, all that kind of stuff. But I think her top favorite food is like croissants, just like flaky, buttery.
Avi is so very close to being like full dark academia aesthetic, and I'm about it.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
That's so her vibe.
I love it. It's so good.
Girl, love your books.
Hell yeah. Next question I got is, Dear Logan.
Yes.
Tantia got Fenris, Rory got Avi, Marion Bone Scandal, Quinn liked Lyra, Vogan likes Mary Mist. There's kinda something going on with Lexi and Flint. Are you hunting the players' hearts in this campaign? Are you trying to get the full set?
I did make a statement before Vestige, and this predates Hayden, that heckin' the players were cowards, and they only ever hooked up with other player characters. And I did make a challenge that I was going to... I suppose I just put it out there to them, that I'd like to see them interested in more than the obvious choices, because there's nothing wrong with, you know, having romances between player characters. It is, however, the easiest thing to do.
It's true.
Purely because you don't really have to consider the in-world relationships all that much, because your adventurer's heading in the same direction. So, I'm not trying to do anything, but I am proud of what I have accomplished.
I failed the challenge. Fucking frame.
You are nothing more than prey. You are nothing more than prey for his dark hunger to acquire every player character.
Quinn's...
Avi was gonna be a no romance option, and then Logan's like, here's a cute guard boy. Go. And I'm like, fuck!
I'm gonna be real with you. It's it doesn't surprise me that it went down that way, but it does a little bit surprise me it went down that way. I thought there'd be a longer struggle to that. It does confuse me eternally that Quinn rebuffed Lyra just because of storytelling beats. It did seem to just sort of go a different direction last minute on Quinn's part, but that's D&D for you, I guess.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Also, the
The real question I have is, how are you going to seduce Wrench?
Fire.
I'm gonna put a straight, mostly mechanical equivalent to Tantia in front of them.
There you go.
I think
If
Wrench...
you make...
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you make her a redhead...
I was about to say that!
You win.
Any heckin' self-assured redhead would cause Alejandro to crumble, and I already know that he loves so many of the redheaded girls that I've made that I'm like, nah, I've got your formula. I can destroy you if I want to.
Yeah,
Hell
you really
yeah.
could.
He does not know that the trap is closing around him. That's fun.
I just put a fucking red Raccoon in front of him, where they're just like, they're technically a redhead, but it's just all their fur, and just watch Alejandro be like, Am I a furry? Oh no.
Not even Alejandro, Wrench saying, am I a furry?
Am I a furry? What the fuck is a furry?
It's so funny. Like, fucking Wrench gets a crush on a Kidsadria and is like, am I a furry?
It's like,
Aviana looking down. What?
Have you... You know what? I'm not gonna touch that.
Oh, that's fun. I only got a couple more questions left here, so I'm gonna try to get through them. Next question I have is for them.
Them?
Yeah, them. You know them. The king that dazzles bright, witches want them, the party wants them, the wielder of the legendary sword, which reduces scores of hordes to blood and gore, shrouded in mystery, hero from history, lion king of great esteem, Artorias.
Oh! Hit me.
How have the events of this hunt affected their outlook on other races, particularly the more traditionally demonic ones, like Miriam and Nemrick?
Given the setting they come from, so, a little bit of backstory for you, Chase, if you didn't know it, Artorias is a variant of King Arthur that was pulled into Honokuni, because, you know, the Mists of Ravenloft do be like that. They don't particularly care about multiversal boundaries. They're an alternate version of King Arthur, going by the original legends where they refer to as Artorias. How to put this? In their world, any demons and whatnot that they would face would either be ones conjured up by people like Morgan Le Fay, or they would be demons in a much more, like, Christian sense. Like, they'd be a lot more embodiments of like, satanic influences and whatnot. This world, the prevalence of fiends as being kind of more commonplace. Same with magic. Magic here is, back where they come from, it's like they know all of 6 people maybe that can do magic, and it's their magic are these like miraculous feats. Whereas here, people are just throwing around magic because the weave supports it. So their worldview on their own world's changed somewhat, in that they've realized that their world is much more calm, like cosmologically. But their view on demons, fiends, and devils and such, likely in their own world, won't have changed all that much, because they are able to separate the fiends and demons that they've encountered here compared to the nature of the ones from where they're from. Like, they're intelligent enough to know that they're not the same between the two spheres, so it likely will not affect their view of, just as the, like, magic here will not affect their view of their world, demons here will likely not affect their view of their own world.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fair. So that's good that they got over that pretty quick, of just like, it's different enough here that I can put the rules aside, and yeah. It's not the same. That's fair. That's nice. That's neat. Next question I have is for Logan again. Dear Logan, was it you or Alejandro who came up with the idea of his character effectively being fantasy Rocket Raccoon?
So, it was definitely Alejandro that came in with that energy, and he initially wanted to come in with, if I'm recalling correctly, he wanted to come in with something. He was like, is there something like Kidsadria adjacent that he could do that was like it? And he talked to me about his concept, and we talked about classes for a while, and initially he wanted to be an artificer, then I told him we had one, and then we ran through Sword Saint stuff, but he always kind of kept this, like, it's at its core sort of, not exactly Rocket Raccoon, but very inspired by it, and, the Raccoon exists because he wanted it. I made the race for him. There's some things I've said, like, are part of the world and always were, no matter when they show up, but the Raccoon was a retroactive element that is now part of the world because Alejandro wanted to play a raccoon.
The purple lightsaber of Nat19.
Yeah.
He came in with that idea. He had a couple characters that he wanted them to be a bit of an amalgamation of. I'm gonna kind of steal his thunder here, and I don't know if it's been brought up before, point out the fun little bit of trivia that the way that Wrench, for example, wraps his tail around his belt is based on how Saiyans wrap their tails around their waists. Just a little nod to Dragon Ball stuff, which, you know, Alejandro has the obvious connection to, what with Shallot. But no, it was mostly his idea, and I helped to guide it and helped him work out his history and you know, did the obvious things that I had to do as a DM, but the energy was what he wanted to come in with, absolutely.
That's fully fair. Speaking of Alejandro, Hayden, have you been able to catch which question submitted so far was submitted by Alejandro?
I actually have no idea.
Oh, that's because it's this one that I'm about to post here.
Oh, okay, I see. Oh, Jesus.
Dear Avi, so when are you guys fucking? Why is Wrench your favorite? Why is Wrench your best friend? Why are you so mopey all the time? Are you and Fenris gonna smash? Why do you always go off on your own when the party is right here to help you? Hey, so how about you don't die? Thanks.
I'm interested in the answers to a couple of these questions.
Also, before you get into it, I want to make a comment. I had like 3 questions submitted by fans that named him Wretch. And I thought that was his name for a little bit. I fully thought, like, his name must be Wretch. Everyone's calling him Wretch. Yes, please continue.
Oh, so good. So when you guys fucking, who am I fucking? I don't know. Who knows? Why is Wrench your best friend? He's not. Please see the first question. Why are you so mopey all the time? 'Cause this place sucks. I feel like my friends don't trust me. I'm choosing to be alone. Fuck off. Are you and Fenris gonna smash? Absolutely fucking not.
Oh, darn.
I know you're really looking forward to that one. Sorry. Why do you always go off on your own when the party is right there to help you? Previous instincts, used to having to do everything kind of by herself. So, and almost to go back to a previous answer is not wanting to have to rely on anyone else. And it's almost like she's proving that she can do it by herself. Whereas for like the last fight with just taking on the Zugaikin by herself, 1, processing her emotions poorly, and 2, trying to keep the Zugaikin distracted so that everybody else in the party could take care of Tribulation because she trusted them to do so. It's like, they're strong enough, they can handle him. She was trying to more keep them busy, so they could do what needed to be done, which I said as much in game. It's like, they're right there to help you. Refusal for help. How about you don't die? Thanks. You know, if it happens, it happens. Fucking friends keep deciding that I'm not dead, but you know,
a lot of apathy around not dying. I respect it.
Such is Avi.
Such is Avi.
Especially right now. She's too far away from the things that make her really not want to die, but right now.
Consarn it, Ave Maria. Stop trying to fucking get offed. And with that, we are to the last question submitted by peeps from Nat19. Well, this one particularly is a viewer question. Dear Logan, in sinister, vague terms, could you tell us what's in store for the party?
In sinister, vague terms, could I tell you what's in store for the party? The party is, as they are currently proceeding forward, on the track to having their negligence of particular responsibilities that they have come back to bite them. I suspect there may be something of a forced split in the party relatively soon. Given where the party is headed currently, they're going to be coming to a lot of crossroads where they're going to decide if certain individuals are going to be allies or if they're going to be hindrances to them. I think they're pretty much, the party is also very much on the precipice of learning some things about the history of Somnus Domina as a whole, as opposed to Honokuni. Which I'm interested in seeing how that goes.
Yeah.
I think it's about as vague as I can get.
Heck yeah.
I'm freaking out. Oh my god, what have we been neglecting? Oh my god. Oh my god. Fuck. Cool. Thanks for the panic attack, Logan.
Welcome.
You've been shirking your responsibilities, you shirker.
Fucking shirker Aviana Kolesh out here.
Gosh dang. And with that, as that is the final question, we move on to the not a game with the lowest stakes ever conceived, where to save time, I will just tell you who submitted questions. Players of Nat19. The first entry was, Dear Avi, you need a hug, dog?
Hold on.
Was from Aaron.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Normally when we do
on.
these, I put on like a big old fighty soundtrack to make it like sound dramatic. And I still want to do that, especially because now you can hear them. So for you telling us what the music is, ha!
Nice.
All right.
Delightful. The first entry, submitted by none other than Aaron. Dear Avi, you need a hug, dog?
I will be real, I had a feeling that was either Aaron or Alejandro.
Me true. Me true as well. Me true as well.
I was like, that wording, it could have been either of them.
The next question, submitted also by Aaron. Dear Logan, is there a moment in Honokuni so far that has surprised you or caught you off guard? More broadly, any standout moments you enjoyed?
Oh, crazy. I wouldn't have suspected that as being one of them.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
After that, there was, Dear Avi, we all know a certain fox girl's love for strawberries. How about our bird girl? Any favorite foods? Submitted by none other than Carrie.
I was like, if that has to be Carrie. Oh.
Additionally submitted by Carrie. Dear Logan, Tantia got Fenris, Rory got Avi, Miriam Bone Scandal, Quinn liked Lyra, Vogan likes Mary Mist. There's some kind of thing with Lexi and Flint, I don't know. You hunt in the players' hearts this campaign?
Really interesting. It's really interesting that Carrie's the one that phrased it as there's something going on between Lexi and Flint.
Uh-huh.
That's funny.
If only someone could have more control over that situation.
If only someone had agency.
We don't have that in Nat19. I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's scripted.
Obviously.
And finally, the most surprising upset of all, the mystery contender whose presence was fully hidden the entire time, Alejandro Saab submitted, Dear Avi, so when you guys fucking, why is Wrench your best friend? Why are you so mopey all the time? Are you and Fenris gonna smash? Why do you always go off on your own when the party's right there to help you? Hey, about you don't die. Thanks.
I'm gonna have to ask him to clarify that beginning part of the question when he gets home, because I'm like, who? I'm assuming Miriam.
Sucks that I'm gonna have to kill Rory.
No.
Well, because heckin', how are Fenris and Avi gonna? I need this. I need them.
Hanya's right there. Okay.
That's fine. She's probably fine with it.
Yeah. It'll work out.
No.
It'll be fine.
Logan, you've done it to her once. No.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Listen, just what's gonna happen is Fenris is gonna obtain a very, very specific form of madness that makes her fully believe that she is Rory.
She
Not if Avi also contracts a very specific type of madness that makes her think that anyone that says they're Rory is Rory.
My God.
With boobs.
That would...
Anyone
no.
who says they are Rory adds 45 to their deception check.
Well, now I have to believe them. My insight's shit, so...
I'm pretty sure that Rory didn't have these bits before, but who am I to judge?
Honokuni is truly a strange and mystical place.
Wow, babe, Honokuni's really changed you, huh? I mean, I'm not complaining. Like, Avi's pan. She doesn't give a fuck. Fucking... It's so funny that you're like, yeah, it happened a lot earlier than I thought it would. Logan, I'm like, listen, if he hadn't perished and then been like AO smooched, though, it probably would have taken her longer.
That's fair. That's a fair thing.
Understandable.
But you also gave that to me on my birthday, so you know.
I did.
Who am I to?
It's a very special kind of present.
Who am I to stop that train, you know?
And with that, we come to the close of Chat19. Thank you both so much for attending and answering all these questions. I appreciate you so very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, audience, for submitting all these wonderful, wonderful questions for Chat19. Couldn't do a show like this without you wonderful boys. If you want to submit your own questions for next month, the form to do so is in this video's description, as well as on our Twitch page. So if you want to go ahead and submit your questions there, go ahead. I believe in you. Logan, since you're here in the call, would you mind giving me a reminder who it's going to be next time?
I would, except I haven't told me yet, so it'll be figured out by the time this goes up, though. You'll be able to scroll down and look at the description, everybody, and the form will be right there for episode 23.
Yep. It'll be a surprise for everyone, including us. It'll be great.
I think we're at the end of a rotation, so it could technically be anyone. Hold on. Let's decide this right now. Hold on.
Sure.
Because we try to rotate in ways where we don't have people that did it together last time do it again. So just let me just check the combinations.
The reason I say it's funny is I'm like, you and I have been together twice, and Fenris and Miriam have been together twice, which I'm not complaining. I love doing
these. As of the last set, I sort of threw out the previous ones because some of the characters have changed. So I was like, the combinations are, like, the dynamics are now different, so whatever. Let's say that next time is going to be... How did this happen? Wait,
Logan and Hayden again.
Hold on. So
immediately again.
So it went Brett and me.
Yep.
Oh, I see what happened. Never mind. Okay. Next time is going to be Spencer and did they do it last time? Aaron.
Hey.
I know.
Wonderful.
I know they've done it before together, but whatever. I think they did.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think they've done one before.
Actually, I'm not seeing him. I'm not seeing them together on any of the thumbnails. No, wait, there it is. Hold on. That's literally the last one they both did. Never mind. Wait, how did this happen? How was it Aaron and Spencer, and then Spencer and Cody, and then Carrie and Izzy? Did we? Oh, Vogan was still there. Oh, I get it. So who are the two people that haven't done it in this one? They would be, next time will be Braden, and who's the other person? Who's the other person not listed here? It's not you, it's not me. Braden and Izzy. It'll be Braden and Izzy.
Woo!
There.
Brizzy.
It'll be Braden and Izzy. Down below.
I'm ready for it. It'll be a good time. Submit your questions. Submit your questions for Flux and for Fenris. I believe in you. Thank you so much for sending in your lovely questions. We appreciate you so very much.
Yeah.
Heckin' yeah. If people want to find your lovely boys, where can they find you? Starting with Hayden.
You can find me, because I was outed by my lovely husband and my friend Joel, Porcelain Maid. You can find me as my VTuber. I'm just fucking whatever.
We're just
I
saying
gave
it
up.
now.
I gave up because Alejandro outed me, and then my friend Joel keeps outing me. So
Let's
there's
be
no
real.
point.
Anyone that knew you knew.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone who was a fan
Exactly.
knew.
Anyone who knew, I wasn't really trying to hide it, but you can find me really frequently over on my VTuber channel, Scylla Aria. I'm your resident non-binary fairy finey. That's where I make all the dice. So if you guys are fans of the dice that I make for Nat19, go follow my Twitch channel and my Twitter over there. That's where I make all the dice. If you want to just hang out with me, I am on Twitter a lot, or I'm here, so you can find me at HeyBaleVoice over on Twitter. Or if you just want to hear my voice, but in singing form, go follow me on Spotify. I wrote, recorded, and had produced Aviana's Lullaby, which is something that she canonically sang on the show when the characters were in Stepped Under. So if you want to go listen to that, you can look up just Hayden Daviau on Spotify or Aviana's Lullaby. It'll come up. Go follow me. I have a lot of music coming out soon. So definitely go follow me over there. So lots of different places you can find me. Or here 3 days a week. So.
Heck yeah. And Logan, where can people find you?
People can find me mostly here or on the Project Mouthwash channel. I have some stuff in the works that I would announce, but I can't announce it just yet because of NDAs. I thought I'd be able to by now, but I can't. But you can find me on the Nat19 channel, using the Nat19 Twitch, on the Project Mouthwash channel, and you can hear my voice in a variety of things, such as the work of the Schmucks and of Something Witty, as primarily as currently Keith in Sword Art Online Abridged, and as coming up a lot more Eraserhead. I've done one line as him so far, but this next episode is gonna have a ton of stuff in the My Hero Academia Abridged they're doing. And you can also hear me in the Schmuck stuff as a variety of boys.
You're gonna be. We got the season finale of Schmucks coming out in just a little bit, and you're Hauser in that.
I am Hauser.
It's a good time.
And then also, I don't know, did y'all know I was Yusei in Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged? As time goes on, it occurs to me that people get shocked when I bring that up. So just publicly, y'all know that? Because
Speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, a new episode came out the day we're recording this.
Oh shit!
Oh fuck!
Good job, Martin.
Good job, Martin. Get it.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
What a sweetheart. But yeah, it's always funny. Even Hayden's known me for over a decade, and then I told them I was Yusei. They were like,
okay. But to be in my defense, I'm bad at character names, and I forgot that character's name.
Okay.
So every time, this is me defending myself poorly.
I think basically everybody in Nat19, I've had the conversation where I briefly mentioned I played Yusei, and they're like, oh yeah. And then they'll just stop for a second and be like, wait, like the card games on motorcycle guy from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged? That was you? And I'm like, yeah, that was me. And they're like, oh my god!
Yeah, I remember we were like just walking, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Why are you a meme?
Yeah, why am I a meme?
Oh.
But yeah, so you can find me as far back as there. Heck, let me know in the comments if you didn't know that about me. Because it's funny to me.
And I'm Chase, also known as Coffin Jockey. You can find me on the Schmucks YouTube. You can find me on the Grimjack YouTube. You can find me on the Abridge Alliance YouTube. We're actually going to have a bunch of new stuff coming to each of those channels super soon. Schmucks season finale is fighting copyright strike. We're almost done with our Digimon episode, which Logan played Devimon in, which is super good.
Yeah.
That's also going to face a lot of copyright nonsense,
Yeah,
so we're going to try to get that out on Abridge Alliance.
We had to quit.
Woo! It's a fun time. And heckin', yeah, I got a Twitter, at Coffin Jockey, and I'm pretty much everywhere, especially when you least expect it, right behind you, and behind the Denny's, at all hours of the day.
He also plays Heckin Ultram in UBWA. If you go and watch the last episode of that.
It's true, I do that.
It's true. You do.
You said doo-doo.
He did. He said Which
Height of comedy.
Which I'm just throwing out there. I'm working on, by the way. The next episode of UBWA. It's taken a million years, but it's on its way. It's coming.
Woo!
I'm probably gonna go edit more of it today once we're done this.
Woo! And speaking of being done with this, that's it for Chat19. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching the episodes. Thanks everybody for doing y'all stuff. And we will see you next time on Chat19. Goodbye!
Good